Hey everybody, I'm Chris.
And I'm V.
We're Monster Boy Lives, and we're going to talk a little bit about Heavy.
Yeah. So Heavy is an EP that released on June the 23rd, 2023. And we're really excited to talk about it and to share some insights towards what we've just released upon the masses.
So oftentimes with most of our music, you'll find stuff like you'll find soulful vocals, you'll find saxophones, you'll find rock and like vintage instruments kind of at the forefront of everything, and that's usually what you get with Monster Boy Lives. And
weird instruments.
Oh yeah, weird
a little bit of
instruments
weird
for sure.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna get that with everything,
mm-hmm.
but and it's often we have like EDM and hip hop and electronica elements sort of like sitting below the surface. But for these four songs, we kind of flipped everything on its head. And the electronica and the EDM and the hip hop stuff sort of took the forefront. And you're still going to hear some saxophones. You're still going to hear like my soulful vocals in there.
But that's more underneath.
And yeah.
And on top of is this like industrial EDM with some cool beat work. That's what's really on top. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. It surprised us when we were writing them.
It surprised me that people love it. We actually, so we had these songs placed with APM as part of our first record deal with Kinetic under APM. And it was a little strange because these songs are a little bit outside of our normal, like we discussed. But we ended up playing a festival, and they were like, hey, we want you guys to play like an hour longer than you used to. And we're like, oh, okay, like an hour longer than we prepared for. Luckily, I had a bunch of, stuff ready to go. And
yeah, we have about 80 songs that, so only part of what's been finished or like has been released. So we have still stuff that we're constantly working on. So we dug back into that. And with that were pretty much every song that we've released as this EP. And people just really latched onto and loved those songs.
Yeah, I was surprised because Heavy is an instrumental track. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But when we played it for an audience, I didn't expect it to have such a great response. And that was probably one of the best received songs at Flex Festival when we played it. So we're like, hey, maybe we should put these songs out for the masses. That, and if we do get a placement with APM, they're like a music sync company that places music with TV and film. If somebody finds us through a TV show, I want them to be able to go on ahead and listen to that on Spotify or download it on Apple Music.
So they can find the song that they love and they can start following our music, because we are an indie project that's vying for a spot in the pop market. So anything we can do to start like getting our brand out there and what we do helps us out. So we're going to talk a little bit about these different songs. I will say that during the pandemic, we had something additional going on with us. I got sick first, and it was not pandemic related.
We both had rare adrenal issues.
And then Chris got sick.
Yeah.
And it was, it actually started before the pandemic and then went pretty much through the pandemic. So there was a lot of work that we had been working on and creating that, little parts not finished, but for the most part, there's a lot of material that's been worked up. So you're going to find that with this EP, there's like a certain tone, a certain mood. Our next one may be completely different because as this music that we created in these moments of time while we were experiencing this and experiencing the highs and the lows and just all the things that happen in a couple's life and in people going through some very emotional and physically straining stuff, this was a bit of therapy for us. So you're going to feel different tones.
Yeah.
So, well, do you want to start on, which song do you want to start on, Beth?
Let's talk about Heavy. So
Okay.
Heavy is the title track of the EP. Heavy starts out with this like building sort of synth. It's like wah wah wah. I like that as kind of like building up to the frenetic, snipped up hi-hats that I put together. It's a very like progressive, industrial, hip-hop inspired sort of song. Actually, I built a beatboxing drum kit to start the song off with, and I was like, I'm gonna use this through the whole song. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, it doesn't sound great, but it sounds really cool right at the beginning. So if you see us play it live, I'm like, and all that. It was so much fun putting it together.
And we had that song built, and it was already being reviewed by APM before we considered it finished. It was in the folders in which Chris was like, "You're not going to send them that last folder that like stuff's not finished." And I'm like, "No, not at all." Said
yeah, it was called Bleep Bloop when they signed it, and I was like, "All right, we got to rename this."
Yeah, they were like, and Bleep Bloop, and we're like, "Oh," and they're like, interesting name. We're like, we're changing it. It's like, okay, good. But yeah, and then we came in and we laid that the Barry sax parts on it, which is this girl back here. I feel like it really tied a lot of it in, and a lot of our content, like that's a perfect opportunity when we're playing a show for me to hop up on the drum riser and just like, especially if there's like a big screen or a big banner behind me, and just be able to groove out to it. So that song has been a lot of fun. I expect that live it's going to keep evolving.
We're going to add things. It's going to be give it a year from now, we'll have lyrics and everything. I don't know.
Yeah. And you're you play keys on that live, right? Okay.
I play keys and guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, switch back and forth.
Yeah.
So let's.
Yeah. Oh. And then with the police siren. So
are we going over on time?
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. They'll snip. So things were stretched out, and then they were to give like this time dilation. It was a really cool effect. Chris works a lot with Found Sounds that he'll be able to go. He goes out and records all sorts of things with his phone, and then manipulates that into something that we can use on, and it's like a sound nobody else has. So okay, so now we can move forward.
Yeah, this is the fun people get live.
Yeah,
it's that couple spatting. So all right, 02. I love this song. I wrote it a long time ago, and it's kind of like taking infatuation and comparing that to a drug, because I am infatuated with this one right here, and I'm addicted. So that provides a lot of context for like songwriting, I think.
Yeah, it's been 17 years.
Yeah, 18 years next month.
Yeah, 20 together.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's good stuff.
One of the things I really love about it is live. We have a really cool video that I put together. It's very like creepy and edgy, and just kind of reminds me of something Nine Inch Nails would have come back out with in the 90s. So I need to update that so that we have that.
Is that the one with the broccoli?
No, not the broccoli.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I love the electronic squeals at the beginning. They're like sort of things, I really enjoyed putting together the drums. They're very like driving, but also groovy. And to emphasize that groove, there's like a real, and though a lot of it is electronic, there's a really grungy like electronic or like electric bass line, sort of pulsing underneath the whole thing that drags it into that like danceable category. So I always love playing 02 live.
Yeah. So Burn Boy is something that came out like before I even joined the act. There's a long story, but it basically ends up with us winning tickets, and then a writer from MTV.com that meets us at the tickets were from Bonnaroo, meeting us at at Bonnaroo writing about us being a duo, and then somebody trying to book that duo like 6 months later in Austin during South by.
And we weren't going to get the show unless, you know, we had a girl on the band.
Yeah, so Chicks Roll Night.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, I play saxophone.
Because I still had one upstairs.
See you guys in 8 weeks.
So I had 8 weeks to learn how to play when there had been like 20 years since I had picked up a saxophone.
This is one of the first songs that we performed together.
At that time, I just played E flat a lot.
Yeah, just So, writing the song, I had recently rewatched Hackers, one of my favorite 90s movies. Great electronica soundtrack. And I just, the whole thing has like a 90s electronica vibe, but I wanted to add in, you know, a lot of like some of my industrial influences. You'll hear with a lot of the like distorted drums, the like wild arpeggios on the synthesizer, especially during the solo portion. And I think we really captured that 90s electronica vibe, but with like cool modern production, which is totally what I wanted.
Yeah. And then Dashy is one that we actually partnered up with.
Ooh, Dashy, you dirty girl.
That we partnered up with somebody that was in an act previously with Chris. And she does the vocals on the track and live. I've been working with a vocal coach to because when this started, could not hold a tune in a bucket. So I've been developing my singing voice.
You sound really good now.
So, yeah.
Hey, to be fair, when I started playing music 20 years ago, I didn't want to sing. I was a guitar player, and I couldn't find anybody else to sing, and I had all these lyrics, and I'm like, well, all right, I'll develop it. And, you know, 20 years later, we're here with my, you know, little dude, big voice kind of thing going on. So on Dashy, You Dirty Girl, the whole track really started with the bass tone. There's a bass tone that comes in about 30 seconds or maybe a minute into the song, sort of a short little intro thing. And it's just like, and I was like, this needs a song built around it.
So when we, as you can tell by what you're hearing, a lot of times our music starts with a sound more than a lyric. Sometimes lyrics come in and we build a song around that, but almost always one of us is spinning around in a chair until they have an idea.
We're in our spinning chairs right now.
We are in our spinning chairs, and I'm resisting the urge to spin around and grab a saxophone. But yeah, that's really how music kind of tends to happen with us. And the writing process, a lot of times we've written lyrics and then went back and read the lyrics, and there's a point where you have to explain what the song's about, and it's only at that point that we realize what we were saying with that and what we were expressing. Yeah.
Writing lyrics with intention, not my strong suit. Writing cool lyrics that I like to sing, that's what I do.
And we're currently doing all this in like half a living room. That's where we're in right now.
Yeah, you see
in our house.
Space.
And yeah, it's a little home studio that we record everything and mix and master it. And we really hope you enjoy the music.
So thanks for talking with us a little bit about Heavy.
Thank you.
Bye.